Everyone thinks they want to freelance until they start freelancing. If you've been following me for some time, you are probably here because you are following my freelance journey. You saw me quit my 9-to-5 and start freelancing full time. You are a freelancer. You want to learn some systems to make it better. You have a goal of freelancing full time, whatever it is. I know a lot of you were here for that. And throughout that time, I've shown you all the great things, the luxurious lifestyle, the free time, and all that you get with the job. And I'm pretty sure I've shown a good chunk of the bad parts too. But today I'm gonna actually give you all the tea I got, everything I love and hate about freelancing, in case you were wondering. I did myself a favor and took some notes so we can get through these quickly. Should we start with the negatives or the positives? Let's do the not so cute parts. Let's end on a positive note. Let's start with the negatives. The first thing for me is definitely the income roller coaster. And when I say roller coaster, I mean roller coaster. 1 month, you're feeling literally on top of the world. You just had a $10,000 month. You're comfortable. Your rent is paid and you're not stressed out about it. You're able to get all the things you need and get some of what you want without having a double check or second guess about it, whatever. Is great. But then a couple months later, you have a month where you're concerned about whether or not you're going to have a roof over your head. Obviously, all that has everything to do with money management and financial planning and just, living within your means and all that jazz. We know that. However, it is so much easier to regulate and keep track of that stuff when you have a consistent income. That's the reality. The money is good, but it's not consistently good. And your dry seasons could be very, very, very long. Hopefully not, but it could be. Next is the working alone, the isolation, the loneliness. I'll be the first one to tell you that I love being by myself. I feel like I could actually go days, weeks without seeing other people and be just fine. That was wrong. There is a point in time where seeing people virtually is simply not enough. And of course you can meet up with your friends in real life and try to have meetings in person and stuff like that. But the reality, at least in my experience, has been that a lot of my clients, one, are not local. And when you're freelancing, you're gonna take clients wherever they are. Two, my schedule is totally different. So even if I do meet up with my friends, sometimes it just doesn't align. And three, those random interactions you might have in an office setting, like in passing, or just like the random things you overhear or talk about, those are things that was something I started to miss, surprisingly. Next, and I'll keep this one brief, explaining what you do somehow becomes exhausting. Like, it's 2025. You think people will understand freelancing and like the nature of client services and things like that, but some people can't wrap their head around it. And a lot of people do think it's BS that you get to work from a beach if you want to. Also, not all freelancing really looks like that. You gotta really want that for it to look like that. But people just don't get it all the time. Next is imposter syndrome. I've always had imposter syndrome, but it definitely got a little worse as I became a full-time freelancer. I thought it would be the opposite, because if I'm running the show and I'm my own boss, then I'm the one to tell me that I'm the best at what I do, and no one can tell me otherwise. However, when you don't have a boss or coworkers there to validate your work, you don't have someone who is like your accountability partner, someone that you check in with that can help you elevate or critique your work or whatever, you really are just like guessing that you're good. You don't need the validation, but the validation does help. Money, chasing payments, net 30. Getting your money and getting paid on time, getting paid at all is a whole job within itself. That's them coming to get me because I had a heart attack from chasing people down for my money. Being a freelancer, you wear all the hats. There are some people that are blessed to outsource certain things, in which case they kind of have something like a team, a contracted team, but a team nonetheless. I did not. Solopreneur, solo freelancer, everything I did myself. And so there were days where I had full-on admin days, which involved me just sending a bunch of emails asking people where my money is at and letting them know they have a late fee. Stop playing. People think you're available 24/7. I think this comes with working from home in general, not just freelancing, but as a freelancer, if you work from home or if you work from anywhere, if you're remote, people think you are available at any time of day. Just because I determine my schedule does not mean I could come help you move out of your apartment this afternoon. It doesn't. My favorite thing is when you decline an invitation or an offer for something, or you say you can't help someone or something like that, and they go, well, why can't you? It's not like you go into the office. Get out of my face. This one is also related to the income roller coaster, but slightly different. The feast or famine cycle, like the amount of work that you actually have at any given time, it varies drastically. I think depending on what industry that you specialize in or that you work in or whatever, you definitely have dry seasons for certain things. For me in particular, I work with a lot of small businesses, and a lot of entrepreneurs get in that entrepreneur kick around November, December, January. It's popping around that time. New year, new business, new ideas. You want to refresh something, rebrand something, whatever. Everybody's looking for me then. And then in the summertime, everyone's having too much fun, myself included. I learned over time that because of that, it's important to charge appropriately and manage your money appropriately so that I am able to work a lot less in the summer. And that's not always the case for me. Sometimes I have busy summers, whatever, but there is a cycle, and you can never really, I guess over time you can determine or you can see how the trends go, but you just never know. Lastly, whether you actually want to be a business owner or not, if you're freelancing, you're automatically a business owner. You have to learn contracting, invoicing, project management, marketing, networking. You have to learn it all. Even if you do eventually outsource to other people, you still need to know what it is they're doing to oversee the work, because you are the boss, you are the CEO, you are the elite employee. That's something that I did not and do not enjoy. I don't like the admin of the work at all, but you got to get it done. So it gets done. Now, although I'm no longer full-time freelancing, I am still very much freelancing, and none of those reasons had anything to do with my transition. I would still do it full-time despite all of that, and these are some of the reasons why I love it so much. Number one, obviously, the freedom is definitely unmatched. You can pick the days you work. You can pick the hours you work. You can decide, you know what, I'm having a bad mental health day. Let me take it easy. I'm going to make today my Saturday and take my old Saturday and work that day. The freedom is unmatched. That part goes to show me, it showed me a lot about how, the traditional structure of a 9 to 5, 40 hours a week is quite unnecessary, because when I was picking my own schedule, if I wanted my work week to be 3 days, I could get what I typically would have done in a full week or spread out in a week done in those 3 days. No problem. Again, money. When you get it right, and only when you get it right, the amount of money you can potentially make is insane. That comes with trial and error, of course, but there is no cap really to how much you can make. You are constantly thinking about the different sources of income and how you can diversify those sources of income. You are able to determine how much your hourly rate is or how much your salary is going to be. You decide it all, versus when you're in a traditional setting, someone else is telling you what you're going to get paid, and that's pretty much it. You can ask for more, and that's where that stops. If you also think about the amount of money you're deciding to make versus the amount of time that you want to put in, that is also up to you. Obviously, you're required to work certain hours at a traditional job to make X amount of money. When you're freelancing and working for yourself, you have a lot more control over that. So your hourly, even if you're technically not working hourly, you're determining hourly rate is much greater if you want it to be. This one applies to all remote workers as well, but of course, freelancers get to work in their own space, so you determine how everything is set up and what goes on where and what is your optimal working environment. I love that so much. Some days I don't want to be in my office, and I get to decide that I want to go work from the pool that day, or I want to go sit in a coffee shop and be in other people's business all day. Maybe I want to choose one of my friends to be my coworker that day. Stuff like that was just, it's the best. It still is the best. I'm co-working with someone today. Not dealing with other people in your environment also means you don't have to worry about how they are so particular about how they like things or what they're bringing for lunch and making the whole office smell. That was once me, one time. I can't lie. Creative control. Now, I say this with a caveat because you won't always get this. Of course, you are working with clients who will impede on that creative control, but you do get a lot more creative control as a freelancer. Your ability to educate your clients is much greater, or your ability to make an impression on them in order to relinquish more of that control to you is much greater. You don't have to go through a large chain of approvals before it sees the client's eyes, so that also is a plus if that is something that you're into. It might not be a plus for some people, but for me, it's a plus because the less people I have to go through, the more likely the ideas that I think are the best will actually reach the people that I want to see them. The direct contact naturally makes your client trust you more because they're not treating you as someone else's employee, if that makes sense. Typically in my agency setting or when I was working full-time somewhere, the client was much more open, lenient, and understanding of whoever was leading the project or whoever they determined was the boss on that project. And like I could say one thing and they wouldn't take it seriously until my manager said it. And it's just like, even if my manager on the project was really just like the project manager and not like my direct report, meaning that they might not be on the creative team, they might not be the expert in that room, and they might not exactly know what they're talking about, but they're trusting me because I'm the one in that space. Even if the client still will listen to them and not necessarily listen to me, I hated that. Freelancing, love it. I'm the one. You get a huge confidence boost from building something on your own rather than in a team. Now, I prefer to work in a team, surprisingly, but when you're able to get something from idea to execution and you don't have the resources to outsource people or build a team or whatever the case may be, when you do it all on your own and you get to the end and you look at the final product, you will shock yourself and you'll be like, wow, I did that. I'm good. Huge confidence boost. The next thing on my list, which was super important to me, is that you get to choose who you work with. You don't have to work on whatever project is assigned to you. You don't have to deal with clients that just aren't a good fit for you if you don't want to. If the relationship is sour, you can get up out of there. Simple. If you can see during onboarding or when they're still a prospective client or whatever that you don't want to take their money is not good money for you. This is going to stress you out. You don't want to deal with this for the next 6 to 8 weeks. You don't have to. That was the best thing ever. The most stressful environments that I've been in a traditional setting have been because I was on projects with clients that just were not the best. They weren't nice. They weren't understanding. They weren't flexible. They did not want to give you any type of creative control. And sometimes you have managers or project managers or whatever, whoever's in charge of your client relationships, sometimes they're not able to protect you like they should. Ultimately, you should be protected as a service provider. So when it's just you can protect yourself. And I love that. The learning curve that comes with freelancing. I mentioned before in things that I hated that you do have to learn so many different roles, including the one that you're already good at. You'll have to learn so much more about it because you don't have a team to pick up where you lack. And while that can be stressful, it is a very steep learning curve. It is super rewarding. Imagine your resume when you work in a place and you have a very specific role. Obviously, there are a lot of skills that go into that one role. Your resume is now set up like this. When you are freelancing and you're having to learn all these other skills that come with managing, executing, ideating, offboarding, all the things, marketing, all the things. When you have to do all that stuff, you're now learning a totally different set of skills, a much bigger set of skills that you can then take elsewhere and do whatever you want with them. Steep, but rewarding. On that note of the learning curve, I'll lastly say that one of the best parts about freelancing to me is that you offer yourself so much more time to learn as much as possible about the job or basically about anything you want. Because of all the things I listed, the flexibility, the creative control, the control over how much you're making, things like that, all of that combined leaves you the luxury of learning if you choose to take it. But let's say as a designer, I'm focused in one specific type of design and I want to now transition into UX UI, or I want to transition into a very niche type of design like album artwork. You know, I always go straight to the music industry. If I would like to learn more about that or really hone in on something like that, I have the time to learn the skill, to learn how to market myself as that type of designer, to learn all the things that have to do with it, to learn the different design techniques that work best for whatever it is. I have the time. I have the luxury to do that. I then had the luxury to go seek out jobs for myself that align with that, to build a portfolio about that. A lot of people would kill to have easier transitions into other types of work. Freelancing offers that, at least much faster, in my opinion. So while it all isn't all fun and rainbows and flying to Bali and working for 3 months because you feel like it can be. But while it all isn't like that, I definitely would recommend, if you can freelance part-time even, I would recommend it. It comes with a lot of stress, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of things that you might not expect coming from left field, but I definitely think it is all worth it. I also think it's just something that'll help you enhance skills that you either don't currently have or that you could grow much further in. If you have the experience, comment down below some of your pros and cons or any advice for anyone that might be watching this. There are a ton of people looking to hear from you. If you'd like to contact me directly, the information will be down below in the description box. It always is, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.
Running off with the cameras, type of bitch few people can handle. And I walk like I'm not pussy dangerous. Talk like my words are made of angel dust. When I walk up to you in a couple languages.